Hello everybody and welcome to the webinar. So I'm super excited to present this to you today, guys. It's going to be a ton of information, so if you have a notebook, get out a pen, take some notes. What we're going to go through today is super simple framework, and I am going to get us right into this. So without any further delay, let's get started. So we are going to be talking about how to keep students and how to even get new students during the current coronavirus crisis. And we are going to talk about methods and frameworks on how to do this without wasting a ton of hours and spending hundreds of dollars on hiring someone to do advertising. So if you're like me, many of us are currently closed, our dojos aren't open, or our groups or clubs aren't actually going on right now due to the virus. This is information that I'm going to share with you guys that we can use this time to actually help build our membership or maintain our membership, so when we do open, we still have students coming back to our dojos, back to our classes, and even at the end of this webinar, showing you a way to actually use the information and the content you're creating currently to get more students. And I know this is a pretty bold promise, but I'm going to show you a framework and we're going to talk about how to do it. So my goal with this webinar today is to present you guys with a simple way for you to continue adding value to your students while the dojo is not operating physically. While we're in this virtual space and while we're occupying more time at home, and we're now struggling with how to continue to engage with our membership. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to teach you an effective and simple way that you can engage with your students virtually. Many of you are already doing this using different methods. We're going to go through some of the most popular methods, and I'm also going to give you some tips and secrets on ways that you can do just improve what you're already doing and make it more effective. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take the content that you're going to learn how to create, and we're going to take that and we are going to use it to introduce people that are currently not members or haven't been members in the past to your dojo, your club, your group, or just in general to the martial art of Aikido. So we all have struggles right now. One of the things that we want to do is try to use this time as an opportunity. How can we use this time that we're trying to virtually connect with members and also introduce new people to the art? And there are ways to do it, and I want to share them with you. And that's one of the great things we're going to talk about today. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm going to encourage all of you to stay to the end. This webinar is going to be just under about an hour, and what I'd like to do is at the end of the webinar we are going to have a system for how you can create content, how you can use it to maintain your membership, then how you can even grow your membership once we get back to our physical dojos. And when that's all done, I'm going to actually show you a new platform and a way for you to take that content, organize it, and present it to a much larger group of people. Now, I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not asking anybody to buy anything. This entire webinar is free. I have no pitch for you or anything. My goal in doing this is simply taking some methods that we have used for years and some strategies that we're using during the time that we're closed to actually get new contacts. To give you an idea, in the past week and a half while we've been closed, we've gotten 50 new leads for people that are interested in training with us. And those are people that never had access to us before and simply using the strategies that I'm showing here today. The system works. It's going to work well for you. I know some of these things can be confusing, but we're going to get into all of it, and I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible for you. So Let's talk about challenges, right? So when we talk about anything with technology, we have a very varied skill set out there, right? Some of us are extremely comfortable on the computer, extremely comfortable with technology and different forms of social media and things like that, and others have zero experience. So the goal today is to make it so that everyone, regardless of whether you're super techie or have zero experience, that you'll be able to do what we're talking about today. Is very, very simple. And if you can't, you'll be able to find one of your students that can help you with some of the other parts of it that you might not be comfortable with. So and a common thing I hear from people is, I'm not tech savvy, I can't do this. Don't worry about that. The other concern that comes up all the time is that people are not comfortable on camera. And I get that. What we're going to do today is we're actually going to go into addressing exactly how to get comfortable on camera without having too many people watching you, so that you can become very, very clear in what you're presenting and much more professional without putting in a ton of hours or a ton of work. And then how much content do you need? This is something I hear all the time from people that own dojos. Well, how much is too much? How much is too little? We're going to go through that, and we're going to make a manageable system of how much content you should actually have, so it's not overwhelming you, but it's still providing great value. What platform works best? There's so many different out there, right? We have Instagram, Facebook, we have Twitter, we have going Facebook Live, YouTube, using Zoom calls. There's a million different ways right now. That's the good news, but I understand that could be overwhelming. We're going to narrow it down to 3 to 4 main platforms that are the easiest ones and that are the most popular to get the best results in the shortest amount of time. And is this going to be too much work? No. In fact, the majority of the work is going to be in just setting up these structures. Once they're set up, it's going to take very, very little time, minutes out of your day, maybe a little longer when we're doing more extensive work. But in the beginning, you're going to be doing a lot less than you think you need to. The setup is going to take more time than anything else, and that's not even extensive. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process for everything I teach you here today, and you'll be able to follow without any problem at all. And then the next piece is, you may just be completely confused every time you sit down and try and do something like this. And I get it 100%. I have to tell you, through especially the past 5 years with my own dojo, and we own multiple different businesses that are membership based. Anytime I'm learning anything about marketing, social media, my frustration level goes through the roof, and it usually feels something like this, where I just want to put my ski directly through the monitor. You are not alone. And what I have done here is I've put in the time, I've put in the effort to try and make this as simple as I can, so that we can have everyone benefit from this kind of technology. A lot of you are already doing this, are already doing this type of content creation. It's just this system today is a way to teach you how to do it easier, how to do it consistently across multiple platforms without getting frustrated and without wanting to give up. The biggest thing that keeps people from succeeding here is frustration. So we want to avoid frustration. We want to avoid getting confused, and I'm going to help you do that today. So who am I? My name's Skip Chapman. This is a couple pictures for you. This is my family up top. My wife Paige and I run our businesses. We run Jersey Shore Aikido, which we started in 1998, and these are our 3 sons. We have triplet 14-year-old boys. That bottom picture there is just a recent training session. My boys have been training with me now since they were about 4 years old. So it's been neat to see them come up through the art. I have been training for about 30 years now. During that time, I spent about 18 to 20 years on the road, extensively traveling and training and trying to expand my own practice. I was doing for about 18 years, about anywhere from 20 to 25 seminars a year, training with my teacher and various teachers around the world, as well as teaching seminars on my own. Now, with all that said, when I started my dojo, I had no intention of starting a dojo, no intention of teaching. let alone one day making this my profession. So it kind of has all happened accidentally over the years, but I'm very, very fortunate that this is a way that I have supported my family, a family of 5, and I've learned a lot over the years. So what I'm looking today is to try and share some of that many, many failures and many lessons I've learned so that I can help you guys take a shortcut to doing some of these things that I had to learn the hard way. In early 2000, I was featured on the cover of Martial Arts Professional magazine because we had taken our dojo within a matter of a few years from struggling, almost closing. Basically, I had opened my dojo, had a full-time job. I lost my job, and then all I had was the dojo, so it was kind of make or break time. I did not want to implement methods that were going to take away from my dojo being very traditional and teaching Aikido the way I felt it was important, but we did have to make a lot of changes. So during that time, we were able to go from having hardly any students to having over 125 children at that time, and about 75 adults during that period of time as well. So we were about 200 people practicing Aikido. From there, that branched off into other businesses that I've opened over the years, such as my CrossFit gym in 2005, a rowing studio, a weightlifting gym, all of which exists now under one roof. The same magazine featured people like Tony Robbins, Jackie Chan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it was an exciting time. It also helped me formulate systems so I could help other dojos. So during that time, what I also did was I created a instructors group called Aikido Instructors Organization. It was a consulting group that my wife Paige and I operated for quite a few years, where we traveled around, helped dojos that wanted to learn how to increase their students and get more members. We helped with kids classes, adult classes, all kinds of things. We did that for quite a few years. And then I stepped away from it because I had a lot of other things going on. I wanted to focus more on family and my own business. And to be honest, that was probably about 8 years ago. The technology wasn't there. It was hard to deliver the information I wanted to get across to people. We had members all over the world. We were having to send things out in the mail. It just wasn't ideal. So we stopped that, and just recently we started something called Aikido Instructors Group, which maybe you're already a member, and that's how you found this. And we've grown that to about 2,500 people from all over the world in about 6 weeks' time, and it is growing exponentially. So not a fan of talking about myself, but I just want you guys to know a little bit of my credentials of why I can talk to you about this today. So what we're talking about really today is engaging with students virtually. And right now, especially during the coronavirus, most people are using 4 platforms to do so. First being Zoom, which you'll see here in the middle. Second being YouTube. Third being Facebook. And then some are just going right to emails. All of these are great platforms. Today, we're going to focus on Facebook, YouTube, and the use of emails to keep members, keep students, or just stay engaging with them, engage with them during this time, as well as how to actually get new leads for when you open back up or when you're holding classes again, so we can get more people introduced into Aikido. So the good and bad news, my dojo's now, at the time of this webinar, have been closed just over a week. So, we're doing a lot of virtual things that I'm going to talk to you about today. But as I said earlier, we are actually collecting leads and getting people that are interested in what we're doing online, which will hopefully feed into in person once we open back up. So we really want to look at this time as an opportunity to maybe expose more people that are stuck at home to the art of Aikido that would normally never be exposed to it. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that, and that's what I want to teach you guys today. So where do we start? Okay, we're going to keep it simple. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process, and it's going to be super, super easy. If you follow all the steps in this webinar, we'll be able to get you through. I'll be sharing my screen with you in a few minutes where I can actually show you how to do all of this. Some of this might be very basic for some of you, and you might feel like I already know how to do that. I would encourage everyone to look at every part of this webinar, especially if you're doing the replay, so that we can actually make sure that you're set up correctly. You might already have a group. Many people do. You might already have a YouTube channel, all this. The things we're going to talk about today, I'm going to give you a few more tricks and tips and some secrets you may or may not know that could really be a game changer for you. So please, please, please don't fast forward if it's a replay. Hang in there, wait, and do all of the webinar. I promise you will not be sorry. So let's look at Facebook groups. Why start with a Facebook group? Why even start a Facebook group? Just to share a fast story with you, I remember a few years ago, my wife Paige was encouraging me to, that we should start a Facebook group for our businesses. And I was totally against it. I didn't want any part of it. For me, I didn't really understand enough about Facebook groups, so I just thought it was another thing I had to do. I said, I already have a Facebook group or a Facebook page. Why do I need a Facebook group? I already have a website. I don't want to do a Facebook group. I kind of felt like in groups that there would be too much work. It would be a pain to maintain. I'd have to moderate it. I'd have to be, watching what people are saying in there. And I basically built up all this belief around a Facebook group that it'd be this horrible thing. Didn't want to do it. Finally, she kept pressing me and I said, okay, let's try it. Have to say it was one of the best things we ever did. And I'll talk about that now. So first up, it extends your community. So the community that you have in your actual community is your dojo, right? So it could be kids, adults, parents. That is the community of your dojo. So that happens every time people show up. They get on the mat. You hold a potluck party, you hold a seminar. You are developing community. Community is one of the number one things that keeps people coming back to the dojo, right? Aikido is amazing, but really when we think about when we started, a lot of us think about our friendships and the people we train with and the people we can't wait to see. Or during this kind of phase, if you're on like a lockdown like we are, then you're missing those people. You don't get to see those faces. You don't get to see, you're not interacting, you're not engaging as much. And as much as you're missing getting to the dojo, you're probably missing the community. A Facebook group is going to supercharge your community. And for the better, it's going to make it even stronger. And this is whether you're shut down or not. Like just during normal times, it's going to strengthen your community. It's going to make it a lot stronger, and people will be more tied to you, the instructors, and the actual dojo classes or group. It's going to add value to your membership. So the way we run our groups and the way we recommend dojos run their groups is that when people sign up, become members, you put them in the group. So it's an added benefit. As being a member, they get a group access. Do we kick people out if they're not members? Not necessarily, no. But we have that ability. If I have somebody that maybe left on bad terms or somebody that's causing trouble, then I can easily take them out of the group. So I have control as a moderator. You have control by starting the group. You could do what you want, but let's just look at all the value that you're adding. In the group, I'm going to show you how we can add tons of value that are going to help people feel like even when they're not in that dojo with you for that 1 hour, maybe a day, that they're still getting a lot out of their membership and they just love interacting and engaging with the group. And most of it isn't you being on Facebook all day. It's about putting up more educational material and things that we're going to talk about later. All things that are just going to basically enhance their training. It's also a wonderful vehicle for virtual training during times like this, but this time will pass. You'll still be able to use the group. What we use it for is technique tips, things that are specific to our classes. So if I'm seeing something going on where there's a certain type of ukemi that needs more work, I'll put it in this group so people can see it. I'll give them drills to do when they show up to the dojo earlier or if they want to stay late. This is also a way where they're basically getting one-on-one attention with the instructor, which would normally cost them more money because it would be a private lesson or something. You're just giving this as a value. And it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be extensive. In fact, it should be short, and we'll talk about how long the content should be as we go through the webinar. This is the perfect place for announcements, to create polls, to go Facebook Live, and to create special offers. So what do I mean by this? You'll see when we get into the group, it has features built in where you can create announcements. Those announcements can be pinned to the top of the group, so everyone that goes into the group will see that right away when they go in. It'll be very apparent. Say you're closing for weather, or closing because of the coronavirus, or when you're reopening, or maybe you're having testing or dawn testing, or you're having a workshop or a seminar. That would all go in there in your announcements. Polls are a great way to communicate with the membership. where we can put up questions where it's not an open-ended question like, hey, what weapons work do you guys want to do? Instead, you're giving them choices of what you are willing to offer or what you're asking, and then they can actually participate in the polls. Maybe you want to add a new time slot. Maybe you want to try out changing what time you're doing, what class. Maybe you want to make it a beginner class, advanced class. You create polls there. You can go Facebook Live directly in your group. And we're going to talk about the benefit of doing this to your closed group initially, who are just your members. This is going to help get you comfortable in front of the camera. It's also going to feel very personal because you're engaging directly with only the people in the group, not all the people maybe on your main dojo page. So it helps you get comfortable, also helps the people in the group feel like they're getting an added benefit of being a member of the group because they get the exposure with the instructors. And then special offers, that's a way where we might be offering, say, a seminar, a discount on a seminar coming up, or maybe I'm doing private lessons and I want to promo private lessons to our membership, or maybe we're having like a bring a friend day or a referral program. We can create offers in the group that are specific just to the people in the group. This way they're not going out to whoever stumbles across your main Facebook page. It's also going to increase the activity due to the group being private. So what do I mean by this? I mean that the biggest benefit I saw when I finally, stopped worrying about starting this thing was that people participate more. So you can put up posts and people will engage. They'll start talking. They'll comment on your post. They'll start commenting in the comment section. They'll start posting their own questions or their own ideas or something that they'd like to share in the group. For us, if someone in any of our businesses say they need a job, I'll say post in the group, because in the group it feels more of a community. You have that private setting where, there's X amount of people in the group, and you might say, hey, I'm looking for work in whatever, data entry. Does anybody have any leads? And then you're going to see people pouring in saying, oh, I know somebody. Oh, there's this going on. Or, hey, I'm looking to buy a new gi. Anybody have, what are you guys wearing right now? What's your favorite gi? Oh, I like, Tuzando. I like, whatever. So in the group, you're going to have participation is way, way higher, and you can actually look this up, but there's plenty of stats online that show that people will participate in a private group far more than they will on a public page. Public page, they're worried about trolls coming and saying something to their comments or being inappropriate or, just nonsense that you see all the time in social media. In your private group, as a moderator, you control that. You make it feel just like your dojo. It should be a welcoming, inclusive environment where everyone is respected and you are encouraging and positive. And watch what happens when you do that. You're going to have people that would normally never publicly participate in anything in social media come forward. I know with us, we have a lot of older students, like a lot of dojos do. They don't have Facebook pages. They have went out and made a Facebook page just so they could be in the group because they felt like they were missing out on all that was going on in the Facebook group. And then finally, group insights. So what are group insights? So this is going to allow you to see exactly what's going on in the group. You'll be able to see what posts, and you could just do this on your public page as well, but it's very, very important data and metrics when trying to gauge what your group should look like, is that you'll have access to what's called group insights for your group, in which case you can see exactly how many people have joined, how often they're participating, what posts are getting the most activity, and then you can kind of cater your content to around that so that you can continue to get people to engage. What we really want to do by building a group is to get people to engage. We don't want to just post material, have them see it, wonder if they see it, maybe they didn't see it, and then they just kind of drift away. We really want to make this an environment where people can engage with the instructors, as I said before, but also there's that nice back and forth in a public forum that's private, okay? So how do you do all that? All right, how do you start your own Facebook group? What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going through the step-by-step process of how to set up the group, how to set it up properly so that it can be the biggest asset to your dojo. What I want to do here is just take you through. So we're going to use the Aikido instructors group to be able to show you some of the insights and how we can use the group to your benefit. But let's just start by setting up a group. So as long as you already have a Facebook page, you're good to go. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to click on this little triangle here if you're on a desktop, and then you're going to go down to Manage Groups. Once you go to Manage Groups, you're going to go to Create Group. All right, so from here, it's just going to be some basic information like, what do we want to name our group? And then what you're going to want to do is add some emails as to who you want to initially invite. Now, this doesn't have to be everyone because we're going to invite people later, but if you know a couple of people that you want as administrators or as moderators or something like that, you could put them in now. Now let's go down here to private. So this is where it's pretty important. There's a public page and a private group rather. There's a public group and a private group. So the public group, anyone can see who's in the group and what they post, and then a private group is only for members, and only the members can see who's in the group and what they post. What we use is we recommend people to use private groups, and I'll tell you why. It's the nature of creating a public or a private group that we really want people to not quite be as accessible. Like I said earlier, there's certain people that will only create a Facebook page just so they can join these groups. So we don't necessarily want everyone seeing who's in your group. You could do this if you want, but for us and our members, we like to protect them a bit and to not have this be public knowledge. So the group is private, the activity will be private, and even accessibility will be private. So it makes it a little more exclusive for the membership as opposed to just anybody seeing the group and trying to ask to be let in. You really want to avoid that if it's being used for what we're talking about in the scenario of it's going to be an added benefit for your members. So we're going to set that to private. And then the visibility of the group. Can anyone find the group, or is it a hidden group? Okay, so this is kind of goes with what we were talking about, public versus private. In the public forum, people will see who's in the group, who's not in the group. So, that's your choice. We do recommend that as private so that people aren't saying, oh, well, I saw my friends in that group, so I want to join it. And then you start getting people that were never members at your dojo trying to get in the group. And then visibility, for the same reason, we tend to keep our groups hidden as well. Just because I don't want people searching out the group if they aren't members. So all this means is that they'll be invited to the group versus being visible, finding the group, and then be asking to join. This also makes life a lot easier for you if it's hidden, because you're not going to have random people asking to get into the group constantly. So like I said, I'll just create this, and we will go to create. And then from there, now you've created a group. You can easily personalize the group by uploading a photo here to whatever you want. That will be the background. You could choose a photo. You can upload a photo. Easy stuff. And then down here, you have everything you need. Okay, so let's just explore the group a little bit. First up, you want to create an about. What exactly is this group about? What are we doing in the group? What are we offering? Who's it for? That will all go right in here, and that we do by adding a description. So you'll create a description. In here, we'll just say, the group is for your dojo. It's meant for XYZ. We can also kind of put in some expectations of how we expect people to behave in the group, but you can add that to the rules section as well. Discussions are where you're going to be making your typical posts on a regular basis, where you can put up anything from Facebook Live to just announcements, posts, whatever you want to do, video, any kind of content at all. When you create content, if I want something to become an announcement, you post it. And then all I do is I go here, and if you scroll down, you'll see mark as announcement. Now that will be marked as an announcement, but it won't necessarily stay at the top of the page. So what I want to do is I'm going to go down and pin it to the top. Okay, and that will pin it directly to the top. So anytime someone comes in, that'll be the first thing they see. Okay, then that announcement will also be under announcements. So when people come into your dojo private page or private group, they can see the announcements that correspond with the group. Next, we can go to members. You can quickly see who's in the group, which right now is just me. You can create an event. So for the calendar, I can create an event for whenever, put a video in, create an event name, location. So this would be great for a seminar or a workshop or anything you want to do, or maybe a testing date. Then you would put in the date, the times, and then everyone in the group will be invited to it. Then they can respond, RSVP, and then you'll get a better understanding of how many people are coming. This is a great way to secure that you're having attendance for different events. Watch party would be for video. If you're going to put up Facebook Live or some kind of video that you want the group to watch, you can invite them to that. And then you can also add people to be moderators in addition to yourself, and you would see them here under edit moderator. So as people join the group, I don't have them right now, you can just come into this screen where moderate group, and you can flag them and make them an actual moderator, or you can do that in the members panel. You'll also see membership requests here, but if it's a hidden group, you'll probably still see them here either way. You can schedule posts, so you could actually schedule out a whole week of content and have it come up whenever, so you don't have to do it day by day. People in the group can flag different posts that they feel are inappropriate. You can also use keywords, certain words that might appear that you feel are polarizing or political or something that you don't want in this format. Then you can flag it so that the keywords will actually let you know that this word has come up. You could set everything to automatic member approvals, which I wouldn't suggest since your group is private. So let's go back to discussions. So this is primarily where you're going to see most activity going on. As we said before, super simple, easy to manage. What we want to think about when we are creating content in any of these formats is we want to engage. Just like you engage when you're teaching someone on the mat, how do we engage with people? That might be asking a question. That might be creating a poll. It's not a great idea to create open-ended questions like, hey guys, what day or what time works best for you for training, right? Instead, we're going to create a poll. We're actually going to give them choices of, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Please pick a time that works best for you. All we're doing in this group, and the goal of this entire thing, is to get them to engage. Now, how does this apply to being closed right now? Well, for one, if your dojo is closed because of the coronavirus, this is a phenomenal way, and our groups are super active right now due to people being home. So this is where we can put up virtual training. We can put up breathing exercises, and Tai Sabaki weapons work can all go directly in this group, in this members group, so that they're getting access to it as a member, as an added member benefit, and also to keep them connected to you. Okay, and which is what we're trying to do, whether the dojo's open or closed, is create a forum where people feel connected to you beyond the 1 hour that they're on the mat. So we're actually going to go out of this test group that I created, and we are going to travel back into, we'll go to Aikido instructors group for you. So as we go here, so here's some added benefits of having this group. So earlier we talked about group insights. So you're seeing now that it's super simple to set up the group, how we want to try and keep it a private group. But then if we go to group insights, you're also going to get a ton of information. So with us, with this group, it's more of a global reach group. So if you're looking at a community kind of worldwide, you can see how your members are increasing as you go, which is great. But that's really not why we made the group. For us, you can see how many approved, declined, things like that throughout. Now, this is where is really, really interesting right here is your post comments and reactions. So what we want to do is when you guys have comments up, and you have posts that are going out on a regular basis to your membership, you can go in here and see which days are getting the most activity. So if you see on such and such a date, there was 19 posts that came through from different members. You can also see your active member count of how many people that are active are actually actively going into your page. You can also see posts and comments and reactions to different things. all of this is super important. What times are most popular? So I can look at this and I can say, okay, well, these 3 times right here in the morning, East Coast time, are super popular for me. So I know I'm going to put more content out there because people are actually engaging more with those posts than they are at, say, 11 p.m. my time. If I had scheduled posts, I could see that there. And then from here, you can see any of your comments as to how many, or I'm sorry, any of your posts, how many comments they got, how many people actually saw the post, and so on. This is all super, super important, especially for your own dojo, because you're going to be able to say, well, I put this post up and, maybe it was a No Sensei quote and it got a huge amount of people liked it. They commented on it. They loved what I did. And, I put it up at a time of the day when it got in front of more people. They saw it. They liked it. So I'm going to do more of that. Maybe I put up a post about, I don't know, how to tie a hakama, and I put a whole video up on it, and hardly anybody engaged with it, and I know that didn't really work well for me. I'm going to do less of that. So you have the metrics here that are going to tell you exactly what's performing well and what's not performing well, so you can shape your group to be a more powerful platform that's much more effective. So some of you already know this, some of you don't. If you already knew some of these pieces now, I would encourage you to go back, check your group, make sure that you have it locked down the way it should be. But then also for a lot of people, they don't use group insights. They're not going into their insights. They're not seeing what's happening. Is the group effective, or is it just kind of hanging there dead? Nobody's really using it. If you haven't had a group yet, now you know how to set it up. And you're in good shape to go from here. And this is the step 1, or the easiest place that we're going to begin creating content, whether it's virtually the way we're doing it right now, or we're just creating content always, whether the classes are going on as scheduled or if we're in the middle of something like we are with the coronavirus. All right, you did it. You did it. You have a Facebook group. If you already had one, now you have the settings all set. And maybe you had one before, but you weren't using it enough. Now we're inviting everyone. Join your group, okay? Every current student of yours should be in the group. And if they're not in the group, it's a great time to say, hey, look, I know maybe you don't have a Facebook page. Create a bogus one, XYZ, whatever. A lot of our people, especially our older generation that train with us, they don't want any Facebook page. They don't want people finding them. They don't want to engage with people, but they want to be in the group like we talked about earlier. How do you do that? Create a pseudonym. Have them create a pseudonym account, and then they can friend you, and then you can find them and then put them in the group that way. So you have the group. You're inviting people to join. The group is growing. Everyone, especially now while the dojo is closed, I would get the word out. I would email. I would do whatever you needed to do to let them know that this is going to be a primary source of information for them going forward, not just during this time, but after it. We really want to build that online community that mirrors your actual community in your dojo. This should be a very exciting thing for them. You don't want to just be like, hey, join my Facebook group. Okay, that sounds horrible. We want to say, hey, look, we have this brand new Facebook group. It's just for the dojo. It's only going to be for members. We want you guys in there because we're going to be putting up all your virtual training. We're going to be putting up announcements. I want you guys to engage. I want you guys posting questions, even videos maybe about technique you're having an issue with, or you're prepping for your test and you want to record one technique you're really struggling with. Maybe I could take a look at it, or one of the instructors. You want to let them know why this is such a valuable piece and why they need to be a part of it, where they're missing out if they're not in it. If they don't have a Facebook account, make a Facebook account just for this. If they're like, hey, I don't want a Facebook account, I don't want people knowing who I am, whatever, maybe they're spies or whatever, create a pseudonym account, go in, find them, be like, hey, create your pseudonym and then friend me, and then I will find you and put you in the group. Easy way to do it. Problem solved. There's no reason why everyone from your dojo should not be in this group. Now, next, do you leave everyone in there? It depends. That's up to you. We like to keep everyone in the group, whether they're current or past members, for the simple reason that this is going to help build value. And a lot of times if they stay in our groups, they'll wind up reactivating their membership or coming back to the mat and start training again, just simply because they're seeing all the cool things going on in the dojo through the community you've created in this Facebook group. Now we build content. What does that look like? This is posting. This is announcements. This is all the great things we just talked about when I was sharing my screen a minute ago, creating polls. But during times where you're in this virtual space, like with the dojo maybe being closed because of the virus, what I want you to do is start engaging a lot more than you'll have to later. Meaning this might be daily posts. This might be saying, hey, look, we're doing a Zoom call at X time today. I'm going to be putting up some weapons training this afternoon. I want you guys to check. You are going to, if you look here, you're going to see that you're going to get a lot more connection with everyone in the group if you're putting up video. Okay, so a lot of people hate being in front of camera. I'm one of them. It took me a long time to get comfortable being in front of camera, but this is the perfect place to kind of practice. Just like you're practicing technique in the dojo, prepping for a test, this is where you get rid of all the uhs and ums and uncomfortableness in front of the camera. You work it out in this environment because you know that it's a limited audience. It's not like on your main page where you have tens of hundreds of people or thousands of people watching you. You have a group of however many, 50, 20, 300, 200, whatever. That's your audience. And these are people that know you. They care about you. They want to see you on camera. If we're looking at this graph right here, you can clearly see video is king. And this is going to continue to increase every single year. The projection for social media and content is that video is going to be the primary source of marketing, advertising, communication, networking, everything within the next few years. Now's the time to get comfortable with it in a controlled area. We're kind of forced to do it right now with the situation the way it is. Let's start getting very good at it on a regular basis in the Facebook group. Okay? Video's king. How long should your video be? Not too long. Okay? No one, but the majority of your audience will not watch a 15 or a 20-minute video in these formats. 10 minutes is long. It depends on what we're putting out there. But if we're just putting out quick touch points where you just want to kind of touch base with your membership, maybe 2 minutes. Okay. If the dojo's closed, people are dying to get that contact with their instructors, with their senseis, with everyone in the dojos. They want to see your face. Get in front of the camera, talk to them, tell them what's going on, make it short, make it sweet. They'll watch the entire video. If it's instructional in nature, it could be longer. But then we want to segment it into pieces in which maybe you don't teach everything you want to do in one video, but you break it into 3 or 4 pieces and then you drip it out throughout the week. But shorter content, shorter time frame for the content is going to give you a better view metric where people will actually watch all of it. And that's what we're looking for. And the way we can do that is by looking at your metrics, looking at your insights through the group, and you will clearly see what is being watched, what isn't, what posts are popular, what aren't. What should you post? Your virtual stuff that everybody's trying to put up right now, put that in this group. If you're working on taisabaki, meditation, breathing exercises, just go in Aikido instructors group if you're an instructor, which you should be if you're listening to this probably, right? Go in there and look at all the great things that are being put up. There's so much great content. You can model those ideas and create your own. But please don't just put other people's content up. Now is not the time to phone it in and be like, oh, here's a great link from this person and that person and this person. If they aren't you, or if they aren't the instructors from the dojo that they go to, then you're not building that connectionship. You're not building that relationship between you and the student. Instead, you're just referring them to other teachers. That's a mistake. It has to be you or your instructors in front of the camera, or writing blogs, or whatever we're going to do in this group. Monitor your group insights. So like I said earlier, I can't say this enough. You have to know what's popular, what's not, what times are good to post, what times are dogs to post. Don't create content and post it at 11 p.m. and have it be 20 minutes long and be like, this doesn't work, nobody's listening. You have to play with this, and it's going to be different for everyone. Maybe certain times are more popular. Maybe certain lengths of video are more popular. It should not be all video. It should be some written, should be some images, then it should be some video. You need to have all three. Okay, so it should be images, regular photos. You should have some written word, and then you should have a ton of video in there as well. Monitor your group insights, see what's popular, build, build, build. Now's the time to build. Now's the time to get comfortable. The content you're going to create in here, as soon as you start to get comfortable, we're going to move to our next format, which is going to be YouTube. All right, here we go, guys, YouTube. So now we're moving from step one, which was your Facebook groups, to step two, which is creating your YouTube channel. YouTube channel, the way we're going to use it is going to still be used in your Facebook group that you've already established. Hopefully at this point, you're comfortable with your Facebook group. You're creating content. You're filming in there, but you're just filming directly from your phone, putting that directly into the group. You're using Facebook Live. You're creating written content, you're creating images with photos, really building an audience over there off of your current members. Now we move to prepping our YouTube channel that we're going to use to still build our Facebook group, but everything we're building from here on out now, once we move into YouTube, is content that can be reused for seeking out a new audience outside of your current student base. Okay, and I'm going to explain all this. So YouTube, let's get into it, and then I'm going to share my screen in a minute. First thing we're going to teach you how to do is how to create your YouTube channel. Super easy stuff. All you need is an email address. Then we're going to upload your background, which is something you could just do on your own. It's basically the way the channel is going to look. It's going to allow you to have a certain look when people bring up your actual YouTube channel. So it has a look and feel, which can just be, it could be your logo from your dojo, could be a picture of your dojo in the background, whatever. Then we're going to talk about how to create content in YouTube. After I go through all the settings with you, we'll dive into what kind of content we're creating. And this is probably the most important part, is the video settings. Every time you create content in YouTube for this webinar, for these purposes, we're going to limit the exposure of the content you create. Meaning, we don't want you to put things in YouTube and just have it go out to the entire world where everyone can see it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually great. But for what we're doing in this webinar is we're trying to create content or video in YouTube that you're going to directly use in your Facebook group, and then you're going to be able to take that content and use it to market as well. All right, so let's just get into it. I'm going to share my screen with you and go over all of this. It will make a lot more sense. Then we'll come back. We'll start talking about exactly what are we filming. If you already have a YouTube channel, great, you're set. If you don't, then you can make one specifically for your dojo, or you can make a private one, but we're suggesting in this format to make one specifically for your dojo. And what we're going to do is, that's a simple process. I'm not going to take you through that right now, but basically all you need is an email address. You go through YouTube, you can set it up, super simple. The only thing is your email address needs to be more than 30 days old. So if you have a brand new email address, they might make you wait 30 days. Other than that, you are set. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit create, and same process on the phone. All you need to do is download the YouTube app, so you don't necessarily have to do this on a desktop. We're going to hit upload video, and then we're going to drag your video here. So in this case, I have a video all set. I'm going to pull it over, and that is going to go in. So now here's a couple things, and this is what I wanted to show you, is this end of it, and this is where a lot of people kind of miss out. They just kind of upload the video and that's it. So we're just going to name this test because I'm going to delete it, but I want a title that really tells you what you're going to see. So if I'm doing Taisabaki for Aikido, that's what the title is going to be. Then I'm going to put down a brief description that this is maybe solo practice for working on Aikido. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down, and a new thing that's happening on YouTube is they require whether it's made for kids or not, because this affects basically what ads are seen. So I'm going to hit no, it's not made for kids specifically. If there was age restrictions, you could also do that, but for these purposes, we're going to stick to that. And then we're going to click this button right here, which is more options. And this is, again, super important part of trying to develop a YouTube channel that can be used for your private Facebook group, but then also to create content that can be used for marketing purposes to help get the word out about Aikido and you as an instructor, as well as your dojo. So we can come down here, and there's a couple things. If we wanted this video to be public and we wanted tags to help people navigate to it and find the video, we could create tags here like Aikido or oops, not Iki. I'll spell check for you. Ikkyo, right? And Aikido. And whatever else, right? If this is private, this is less important because we don't want it to be found by someone searching it. And we'll show you that in a moment. But then I come down here, recording date and location, not as important to me. This is what's important here, is publish to subscriptions feed and notify subscribers. I'm hoping to get a bunch of subscribers on my channel, but I don't want them to be notified every time I put something up, especially if I'm going to use that content in a private group. If you're creating public content in which you really want to stress, you want people going to your YouTube channel, which we'll talk about at a later time, then you would leave this checked. But for us, for what I'm teaching you today, we want that unchecked. Category is whatever you want, right? So let's just leave it as people and blogs. And then down here, this is another very, very important part, is show how many viewers like and dislike your video. Unless you're looking, again, if you have a public channel and you want people to interact and engage with that, then yes, leave that checked. But for this format, for what we're teaching, we're going to uncheck that, and we are going to hold potentially inappropriate comments. Okay. Again, many different ways to use this platform. Super, super valuable for your dojo. But right now we're targeting how to use it to develop content that can be used at a later date for various things, right? Not just now for that Facebook page or for virtual training that you're developing. You're going to hit the next button, you'll go to this page, and then finally to the last page, which is visibility. And this is the most important part. We're going to hit unlisted, not private, not public, but unlisted for these purposes. And why unlisted is because I still want the ability to copy and paste the link so that people can access this, which is what I'm going to put in my Facebook page and then later in my marketing material. But I don't want it public where anybody can just see it at any time on the main channel. There is a place for that. That's not what we're covering today. After that, I'll hit save, and then it's going to process the video and you're good to go. Now, once the video is done, you'll see something like a little link here like this, okay, where I can copy and paste that to use for marketing. I can use it for putting it in my Facebook group, which we're trying to do today, but this is what we want, okay? So when I say copy and paste the link, you could do it that way, or you could click the video, it will come up and there'll be a share button, and that's another way of doing it. So that is how we upload videos, and we use unlisted preferences for the intent of using it for content that can be reused later, as well as added benefits for your current Facebook. All right, so now your Facebook page, your Facebook group rather, is set. Your YouTube channel is set. You understand the settings and how you're going to go about using it. We're going to talk about creating content in a minute, but I just want to make a short, fast plug for benefits of going live on Facebook and on YouTube. So first up, live content on a public page. Now this is after you've gone live for quite a while in your group and you get comfortable with the entire platform of what it feels like to go live. Then you can consider going public with it and doing it on your public page. That's where we're going to see a lot more reach than what your normal content would ever get on your Facebook page. You could do the exact same thing in YouTube, but let's just look at our private Facebook group for now. It's a unique format, so live streams get more attention than just posting a video. And I know some people are a little weary of actually going live, but that's why you're doing it in that private group, so you can get used to it, get comfortable with it, and then eventually we can talk about doing that on your public pages where we're really going to get a whole lot more traffic. We're not there yet. Let's just keep talking about the private page. It also increases excitement. You're going to get a lot more excitement about a live feed versus you posting a video. Beyond that, you're going to connect better with your audience because you're connecting directly with them. And what I mean by that is it is going to allow you to interact with your audience. So when you're live, you're going to have people, giving engaging with thumbs up and smiley faces and all different emojis, and then actually commenting on your post as it's happening. It's a great way to announce events. It's a great way to go and do virtual training with your members. Instead of using Zoom or something, you could go into the private group and you can use live through Facebook. And that's a great way of engaging. It's going to get a lot more excitement if you're like, hey, we're going live tonight at 5 o'clock for a special virtual class. Really hype it up. You can even create an event in the private page and then go live later. Also, just in the world of traffic, you're going to get more traffic when you start doing those after we graduate out of this private page and eventually go to your public page. We're not really going over that in this webinar, but YouTube and Facebook also, and Instagram, all prioritize live feeds over regular posts. So what you're going to find on those three formats, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, is that anytime someone goes live, and you've probably seen this, you get a message where you get you'll get some kind of update from one of those platforms saying so-and-so is live right now. The reason for that is because they really want you to engage with these live feeds. So they prioritize those way over your other content. So when you're looking at social media marketing, you're looking at social media just in general to build your following, build your audience, whether it's for a club, a group, a dojo, whatever. It's all going to be the same thing, that those live feeds are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. Also, they're going to get rotated into your feed when they're done. Now, YouTube does a little better job of keeping those live feeds so they can be found. Instagram, they kind of time out. And then Facebook, they kind of get lost. It's a much deeper thing to get into. We're not going to get into it in this webinar because we're coming up on our hour mark here, but I did want to mention it, and just because it's important. So go live in your Facebook group, in your private Facebook group, using just Facebook. You don't have to use YouTube Live yet for that. That's going to be more public. Start getting comfortable going live. If you could do it once a week, it would be phenomenal, but it's going to help you. It's going to pay off in the long run. All right, you have the basic tools. You know how to get set up. Let's go to the final and most important step, how we put everything together. But first, let's review what we've gone over. All right, step one is we created that Facebook group. We have the private Facebook group. You know how to do that now. We're inviting members. We're engaging with members regularly, and we're creating new content. That's something that's happening weekly, if not every couple of days. If you have extra time now that you're home more, do it daily. It's not going to be too much, but keep engaging, keep creating content. We want to keep that relationship between you and the students very, very current, okay? Film video, post it as well as video. We're putting up written posts, we're putting up images, we're filming, and we are going live. We're getting comfortable with those things all in the private group before we move over to a public platform. Next, step 2, create a YouTube channel. We went over all this. You know how to do it now. We're going to film video on this new channel, but when we film it, we're going to change the settings to unlisted. We're going to make sure we limit the comments and the likes of it because we're using it in a different way than we would for public yet. And then we are going to take that media or that content that we create in YouTube, and we're going to share it to your Facebook group. And we're going to talk about why we're going to do that. You know, I know in your head you might be saying, why don't I just film it and put it in Facebook? Why do I have to film it from YouTube to Facebook? This is where you can use the content you're already currently creating to attract new students, or at least introduce them to what you're doing at your dojo. All right, so we've had 3 important parts to this webinar. Part 1 was forming that Facebook group. Part 2 was establishing that YouTube channel. Now part 3, this is for some of you the most important part, but I think it's about 50-50. I would say that part 1 and 2 go together, right? And then 2 and 3 go together. So 1 and 2, the Facebook group and the YouTube channel, both of those 2 elements are really going to be tremendous in helping you keep your membership engaged with the instructors, not just times like now of the coronavirus or anything like that, but year round. This is just good business practice, good dojo practice, good practice in extending the benefits of a person's membership beyond just being on the mat and teaching, which is tremendous. But we want to be able to engage with people beyond just a 1-hour class, they go home and that's it. Right? And for a lot of people, that's all it is. For a lot of us, we do more, but this is a way to make it feel like, I mean, if you're anything like me, throughout my time coming up through Aikido, I could never get enough. I would have lived at the dojo if I could have, right? We all remember what it was like in the beginning, having that, I wish I could take class all day. I wish I didn't have to go to work. I wish I could just be on the mat. I wish this is all I could do. A lot of people can only give you that 1 hour. We want to make that hour the best part of their day. And on the days they can't come in, we still want to be there in their face, helping them out, helping them get through a tough day. Not with people trolling on their comments or posting negative, like what might happen in a public forum, but in that private, safe group, safe environment, safe community that you've created that mirrors the actual physical dojo that you've created, or club, or whatever. I don't care if you're on mats in a garage. Same principles will work across the board. Not only will this build value for your members, but it's also going to help as a retention tool to help keep people for much, much longer. I can't even tell you how valuable this is. It's not just some stupid thing you're doing. If you're still with me this far in, I hope you took a ton of notes, and I hope you're ready for this last part, because this is what pulls it all together. Spreading the word. Find new students doing what you're doing right now. So hopefully you've been creating content, you're posting on YouTube, those YouTube links are going into Facebook. Now, what we can do is, if you've created an outline and a format for your material, what we can do is now take that and create something to attract new students. Now, we did this, actually, we had set it up right before we closed for the coronavirus. And like I said at the beginning, we had attracted 50 new leads after a week and a half of running an ad. And then my ad came down because I got flagged. YouTube is very picky about ads, so I think I had like an emoji in my ad or something. They ran it for a week and a half, and then they flagged me. So I put the ad back up, and it's performing again. You do not need to do paid ads to do this, all right? And that's what I want to talk to you about. For one, take the material that you created, and if you're creating things on like Taisabaki, basic movement, meditation, even breathing exercises, maybe just some basics of Aikido that you're putting together, or some home practice drills, like maybe some weapons work that I could use a broomstick at home and do some Joe work. Anything you want to make we want to make basically a 5-video series that's instructional, not long. We're talking like 5-6 minutes, maybe up to that 10-minute mark, but that's it. Not too long, but we're going to create a video series that goes from one day to another day to another day to another day. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to present to people that aren't members. They're stuck home. They need to relax. They need to de-stress. Why not introduce them to Aikido? Now, this is not to be done from a I want more student kind of mindset. The mindset here is that we honestly want to help people. And look, if we think that Aikido is valuable, and if we think the art can help a lot of people, and if we think as instructors that we can make an impact on the community, then it is our obligation to get as many people in front of this as possible. One way to do it is to create free content. Now, free, I know like that word kind of, everybody has a different feeling with it. It's not really free, because what we're going to do is we're going to trade them their email address, which works as currency for this program. Okay? Now, this is what's going to happen. We create 5 videos, and I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a Joe kata. I don't care what it is, but we need to include enough instruction where it has a little bit of value. We want you in front of camera or an instructor talking about what it is you're doing from a very beginner standpoint. And this can still be used in your membership group. This should have been content you already created for your general membership in the Facebook group. You can just repurpose that and now use it for this. Okay, and that's the beauty of what this whole program was about today. So let's say you created 5 videos. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's a 5-minute video on just some basics of how to hold a Joe and how to move with it, maybe some skis, some shomanuchis, some whatever, doesn't matter. But it should be solo practice. Maybe a second video that goes with it that's a little bit about breathing and some of the benefits of Aikido, not getting in deep to the history, but just very superficial, talking about some basics of what Aikido is and how it can benefit you, especially if you're home right now, and then how that could benefit you eventually with some partner practice. That's all we're looking to build, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're trading that email address for the free training. Now, how do we do that? We create a campaign. Now, this is a lot more simple than it seems. In Facebook, you can actually create a free offer on your public Facebook page that anybody that sees your Facebook page will see this. You can also share that offer. This is non-paid in your Facebook group, and then ask your members to share that to people that they know, right? So it's like a free referral program. What we can do is just put up a video, a short video of you talking, saying, hey, look, I know a lot of us are stuck home right now, which is what we did. Now is a great time to introduce some of your friends and family to Aikido. This is something, obviously we can't partner practice too much at home, but what I can do is introduce you to some of the solo practice we do and some of the great benefits that I feel like could help you during the stressful time. It will allow you to be a little more physical, relieve some stress, and introduce you to a very cool martial art. Let's just take that approach, right? So that's basically your ad right there, okay? Or your offer. If you want to run a Facebook ad, that's not what we're getting into today, but we could totally and easily put an ad up. It wouldn't cost you a lot to do so, but that's a separate training, okay? We're providing a ton of value, and our intent is 100% that we want to help people. We're not looking to make money. We're not looking to get students. We are legitimately just trying to help people, okay? If you're any other way about it, then you have the wrong intent, and it's probably not going to work because you have the wrong intent. Good things will happen if you try and do good. That's what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to do good, okay? Then what we're going to do is through this campaign, whether it's organic, which meaning non-paid, and you're getting members to share, or whether it's a paid ad, you're going to collect these leads. So through these leads, you now have an email list. That email list is something that we can eventually use to introduce them more to your dojo, maybe when you open back up, or to your club, or to your group. Or maybe we could continue and say, hey, look, if you like the first 7 days, then what I'd like to do is give you a whole month, and it's going to be $19.99, but we'll give you about 3 videos a week, and we'll teach you this, and we'll teach you that, and maybe we'll even get into a little bit of breathing exercises I'm going to throw in. I'm going to throw in some guided meditation, whatever. It doesn't matter. Everybody's dojo is different. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to help you grow your dojo and to actually use what you know to help your community, okay? Now, how do we go about delivering this, okay? Here's a bunch of different ways. Simple way is using what's called a drip campaign. A drip campaign can be used through things like Constant Contact or MailChimp. MailChimp is free up to, I think it's like 100 a month or 500 a month. I don't know. I haven't used MailChimp in years, but they give you a free service where you can use that for a certain amount of email addresses. Basically, what we can do is set it up to deliver in their inbox. They're going to get a nice email from us. In the email, it's going to have something about you, something about your dojo, something about Aikido in general, not too much, probably about 2 to 3 paragraphs of text. And then it should include a link to the video that you created that is an unlisted link in your YouTube channel. So now it's all going full circle. Now that unlisted link is being recycled as a digital asset that hopefully you used in your Facebook group that is now being used to provide services to a community that you would never ever be able to reach if they maybe weren't stuck home or if you weren't providing free content. This is a tremendous opportunity. I can't stress it enough. For one, you're just doing good, period. You don't get any new emails. That's fine. At least you're trying to do something for the community. And if it's coming from a pure heart, it's a good thing, right? For 2, you could really be helping people here. These people need help right now. They're stressed out. They're looking for something to do. Perfect time to introduce them to an art that can help with healing, can help with stress, can help with physical activity, okay? If we're coming from that place, this is going to be successful. And the final part of this is keep it simple. And this is for everything you've learned today, every piece of content you create. Don't get too complicated, okay? So in your private group, if you have, Udansha and everything, you want to create a little more advanced videos, sure, go ahead. That's fine. But as soon as we start going into the public realm and we start looking at trying to get content in front of the public, we want to provide a true service coming from a very pure place that we honestly want to help people. We want it to be as simple as possible. We want to avoid technobabble. What's technobabble? That's me walking in front of the camera and saying, here's Shihonage, and then I'm going to tension, and then after tension, I'm going to create a full tenkan, and I want you to irimi. That is technobabble. We want to avoid all that. There's a whole nother lesson just there. Just remember, if you were talking to my mom about Aikido, she would have no idea what you're talking about. So what I tell our instructors are, teach like you're teaching my mom. She has no idea what's going on here. She's brand new. She's easily confused. How are you going to get her to understand that this is a good thing for her? That's how you talk on camera. Smile. So many of us don't realize on camera we are not smiling. We look miserable. If you look miserable and your energy is low, then no one's going to want to watch you. That's something we work out in the Facebook groups, in a private forum, before we start using YouTube, and definitely before we go to this format where we're trying to reach the community outside the dojo. And finally, have fun. You have to enjoy this. Now, I know, if you're like me, you're very traditional. You think the art should be very traditional. Nobody ever said not to smile. There's plenty of pictures of O-sensei smiling. Let's smile a little bit, enjoy your practice. Let people see you enjoying teaching. Don't look miserable. Don't look military-like. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, don't be too strict in the way you're conveying your message. What I mean is that you need to be relaxed and enjoy yourself, okay? And if you're high energy and have a little bit of a high energy with a little bit relaxed and you can meet somewhere in the middle, you're going to attract a lot of people to what you're doing, okay? Remember, nobody wants to do anything that isn't fun, right? And the reason we train, everybody I've ever met is because I love training. I have a great time on the mat. I have a lot of friends. We like to throw each other around. We like to socialize after class. How do you get that and convey that in your media? If you can do that, you're going to have a lot more people in your dojo. And that's not just for this. This is for every day. And this is one of the biggest reasons I see that dojos cannot attract new students, is because they can't tap into that. You have to remember what it was like to be a beginner. And then we're going to bring that and we're going to let people see what that's like. And then they're going to run to join your classes, your clubs, your dojo, whatever. All right, guys. So if you stuck with me this long, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. I have one last thing, as promised. I want to introduce you to Aikido University. So some of you have seen this, some of you haven't, but I would encourage you to, as soon as you get off this webinar, to go over to aikidouniversity.org, and there'll be a link in here somewhere that you guys can click on. It's going to take you over to the university, and I want to tell you what this is all about because I'm super excited about it, and I think it can help a lot of people out. So ever since we started working with people through the instructor group, the biggest thing I'm seeing is that there are a ton of instructors out there that are experts in what they're doing. There's all different types of YouTube channels and courses and different DVDs and everything you can think of that people are offering. What we want to do is, if you have a skill set and maybe you're a weapons expert, or maybe you have a breathing technique that only you do, that what we want to do is we've created Aikido University to try and help instructors like yourself to present their material in a course format that can get in front of a lot more people. So when you go to Aikido University, you'll see at the top it says become an AU instructor. First, I want you to go to the website. I want you to check it out. And I want you to check it out in two ways. For one, by the end of April, we'll be launching this brand new platform. And this new platform is going to be the first of its kind. It's going to be an educational platform that's based on helping people learn not just techniques on the mat, but helping you learn things like what I taught you today, learning about marketing, learning about business strategies, learning about how to fold a hakama. You name it. I have people all over the world now coming through, applying, wanting to get involved with the university. So this is not one or two people in here, or my perspective, or one or two other people's perspectives. What we're trying to do is create an umbrella for any organization, whatever you have that might be of value to our community. Contact us, fill out an application, become an Aikido University instructor, and we will help you shape a course to put in the university. Okay, and we have a course creation team that will take you step by step through the process. Now, the second way I want you to look at the university is for yourself, because we are going to create a place where it's not just going to be a marketplace where you can buy physical products, but really looking at the information side. If you are like me, you came up like in the late 80s, early 90s in Aikido, you remember the DVD age, right? When everybody's putting out DVDs on Ukemi and Shiko and Swariwaza techniques and weapons techniques. And we're like, where did all that go, right? I mean, a lot of that just went to YouTube, and then a lot of it just people stopped producing it, right? So what we're trying to do is find those experts and help them create their own courses so they can keep getting that information out before it's gone. And if we don't do it soon, a lot of this content will disappear with these great teachers. So the purpose of the university is just that, a place for you, whether you're a student or a student or a dojo cho, or if you're an instructor, or hey, if you don't practice at all, I have people wanting to build courses specifically for Aikido relating to the corporate world, okay? Or breathing exercises for the non-practitioner or the practitioner. It doesn't matter. If you've been practicing Aikido, you understand all the benefits of it. You also understand that we have a lot to give and it's kind of all scattered all over the place. So if you want to become an instructor, fill out the application, okay? By taking this webinar, we are giving you early access to the university. So you will get access to the university before it goes live. If you stayed through this entire webinar, we are going to give you early access. How are we going to do that? You gave your email when you got in. Just like we talked about today, that's your currency, and I'm going to pay you back for sitting through this webinar, and hopefully you got a lot out of it, and I'm going to give you early access to the university, okay? That means that you'll have early access to free courses, some paid courses, all types of material that you can access before anyone else. Also, I'm giving you early access to the application process. Applications are coming in fast, and we're processing them for instructors on a first come, first served basis, right? So if you get your application in now, we'll have somebody contact you as soon as we can, and then we're going to start going through the framework of how to produce a course, which is not that hard at all. It's actually a far easier than you would expect, and our team are experts at it, and they are going to help you step by step. So thank you so much. I hope you guys got a lot out of this webinar. I hope you took a ton of notes, and if you have questions or comments, you can always reach us directly through the Aikido Instructors group. You can post there. You can message us through Aikido Instructors group on Facebook, but you can also directly go through Aikido University for any questions you might have. If you go to the top of the page, contact AU, you can directly email us there, or just go to admissions@aikidouniversity.org. All right, so thanks again for sitting through the webinar. Hope you guys have a great day, and I really hope this material helps you. I know it's helped us, and it's helped many other dojos. I feel like if you guys took this seriously and you set the framework up we went over today, I know it's going to help you keep students and get new students. Have a great day, and thank you.